Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I have a special guest with me. If you want to give a quick introduction on yourself.
Hi, I'm Jessabelle Thunder, a burlesque performer and slash pinup model sometimes.
Ooh, and can we give a little rundown on who Jessabelle Thunder is?
Let's see. Well, Jessabelle Thunder started burlesque. I started burlesque because I'm like the same person. It's not like a super like random character. It is me. It is me in my core who I always wanted to be on the outside. But anyway, so I started burlesque in 2009, and then it was kind of like I was thrown into it. Like I loved watching burlesque, and when I discovered it, just loved it, and I wanted to travel and see more. And then I had a boyfriend at the time who was like, "Oh, okay, she's talking about it a lot. I'm gonna just put her in this class as a surprise." And so, like, I remember the day that he told me about it. He called me in the morning and he was like, "Okay, so put on your workout clothes, and I'm gonna pick you up in the morning and take you somewhere." And I was like, first of all, I don't like surprises. Second of all, what are we doing? And then he goes, oh yeah, also pack your workout clothes, but also pack your stripper shoes, because I had been taking pole dancing just to like kind of like try to get myself out of my little like shy nutshell. And so he's like, pack your stripper shoes and your workout clothes. And then I was like, oh no, okay. Just tell me what the F I'm doing because I need to know. And then he took me to the class, and I was terrified. I was super scared because it was like new people, and it's something I'd never even thought I would ever do in a million years because I was not a theater person. I
Mhm.
sang like, in a choir full of people. That was the only thing I did that was like on a stage so I could be hidden. So this is like me in the forefront. But yeah, so he put me in the class, and then I just was at the point in my life where I was like, I need to come out of my shell. I need to push myself to be like more confident and stuff like that. And so I basically just kept going with it and pushed myself and said, I'm going to do it one time. And then after that, I'm going to at least say I did this and it's fine. And then never probably do it again. And then, like, 11 years later,
Yeah, look at you now, right?
I'm still doing it. That
Yeah.
one time, like, snowballed. Yeah.
And I kind of like I was speaking to you this prior, but seeing kind of your growth and how you started about like what 10, 11 years ago, and now look at you, how far you've gone already. I mean, you've been known to be one of the 21st century top 50 most influential burlesque performers of the world. You have been the first runner-up for Miss Exotic in 2018 for Princess of Burlesque. You've performed with Dita Von Teese. You have headlined multiple shows now. So, and it's crazy, right? Like to say all those things, like just starting off about 11 years ago. Now look at you now.
Yeah, I'm like, who are you talking about?
So, can we talk a little bit more about the Burlesque Hall of Fame? Because I do know that's something that a lot of people don't know about, but it's something so sacred and held so valuable within the burlesque community.
Yeah, Burlesque Hall of Fame has been happening. I mean, it goes on, it's been going on forever and ever for years in Las Vegas, but it started off on a goat farm. And what it was Dixie Evans, who's a legend, who was a legend in burlesque. She's passed away since. But she started this like stripper museum of all her burlesque friends and got them all together on her goat farm ranch out in the middle of nowhere in, I think, Nevada actually, or maybe no, I think it was somewhere in California, but on the border of like near, Las Vegas or so. But she started that there with a bunch of her friends, and then it turned into like a showcase basically. And then over the years it turned into a competition, and it's been bigger and bigger every year. So now it's at the Orleans Theater in the Orleans Hotel in Vegas once a year. And basically it's like a coming together of burlesque people from all over the world to not only compete for titles, but to also showcase if you get accepted. And I mean, the gist of it is to support the legends of burlesque, the older women who have been doing it, older women and men, sorry, and men who've been doing it for decades, since like the 40s, 50s, 60s. Like, it's celebration of them, is what it's supposed to be really about, and raising money for them and raising money for the Burlesque Hall of Fame Museum so that those artifacts from back in the day can be stored and presented to people who don't know anything about burlesque and the people who love it too. So like it's a fundraising event basically, but the competition is like a huge part. And basically we kind of view it in the burlesque world as like the Oscars, the Super Bowl of burlesque, I guess. So it's like if you get on that stage, it's like for most people it's a huge, huge deal because you're like, oh my God, my community is like gonna recognize me more. And I, first of all, I'm being recognized by the community of people, and then they're going to really recognize me once I'm on that stage because everyone is there. Not everyone, mostly everyone is there from all over the place. So even if you don't win anything, you're still winning because you get to be on that, not winning, but you're still, it's still an honor, it's still a pleasure, you still get a lot from it because you get to be on that stage in front of so many people. And then from there, you know, what happens is sometimes people say, hey, I saw you at BHOF, that's what we call it for short. They're like, hey, I'd like to like fly you out here to do this show here and there. So that kind of just
Snowballs, right, into other
snowball.
opportunities.
Yeah, it can snowball. Even if you don't win the miss, like the queen, you
Hmm.
still have the opportunity to like showcase in front of your peers. And
And
that's,
I congratulate you because I saw that you've done it multiple times, right? Like three, four times,
I think three
three
times.
times. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was looking at your little like you have a little something online that kind of tells all the stuff you've done, and I was like, oh my God, okay, I see you.
I guess people look at that.
Yeah, right. Well, congratulations on that as well. Like I know how hard it is, and especially going against, well, like, good competition. It's always a very difficult thing, and I congratulate you on your first runner up because that is a big deal.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking to like see so for to be in the audience for so many years and then seeing all the people you admire up on stage and then one day you're like, "Oh wow, I'm sitting here with these people. This is really weird."
And then also, and then something too that will, just to name Dita Von Teese. I mean, she's one of the all-time greats in our generation, and she's the modern day Gypsy Rose Lee, I guess a lot of people would say. And kind of getting into that, how was it, being able to get to work with her and get it started? Because I saw you did the Von Follies and also Strip Ship Hooray. So how were those two performances for you in those two theater shows?
uh Nerve-wracking again. Everything I do is just nerve-wracking. But I would say scary, but fun in the end, obviously. It's a great time to be with like again people you admire. Like the strip ship parade was one weekend I got to do in Orange County, and I was there with Mosh and Dirty Martini and Catherine Delish and Dita and Jet. Yeah, Jet Adore was there. So it was like all these people that I knew already. I didn't really know Dita. That was my first time meeting her, but the other people I've known and performed with before here and there, mostly just watched perform, but it was just such an honor and stressful to be with those people because I'm like, it's like me. Like I feel like I'm nobody, and I'm about to be on the stage with people who are coming to see the rest of these people,
No,
and they
don't say
know.
that. You are a star. Never say you're nobody.
But it's like they, they're coming there to see them, and they're gonna get like me, and I don't know what they're gonna think, because my style is not like any like the other people, which is the point. Everyone's different on that stage. Even the Von Folly show, that was even more like scary because it was months of talking about it and getting it together, and then it happened, and then it's like it was an intimate venue. The strip ship parade one was a big theater full of people, and the Von Follies was a very, like, I think 90 people were in there, so it was really up close and personal. And again, people had paid big bucks to see her, mostly, but also to see a good time and see a good show. But I was comforting that I was there with my friends. Like that was really fun. So yeah, it was a
Can we
good
talk?
time. And
Can we talk
she's
a little bit about like pre-show rituals now? About like things you kind of do to kind of help you get out of your nerves, or what is it that kind of like really gets you before a show, right before you get on stage?
huh. What do I do? Well, I listen to my music over and over and over again. Sometimes, if it's a fairly new act, I definitely will listen to it over and over again. If it's an act I've done a zillion times, I tend to like want to save my stress ball and my energy for stage. So I'll listen to music that's completely different energy level to get me like, okay, I'm gonna take myself out of this act for a second and then put everything into it. I usually do that. I mean, there was a time when I used to get nervous months before a show. Like literally just like stressing out every single day. But now what happens is I get nervous right before I go on stage.
Yeah, right. And then you
Yeah,
have to get on stage. You're like, what do we do? What do we do? And you start shaking.
yeah,
You're like, I don't know what to do. And then you get on, and then you kind of black out, and then you come on like, you did great. And you're like, wow, thank you. I think I tried.
yeah, it is a little bit like that for sure. I used to black out a lot, like black back in the day. Like I would just be like, "What did I just do?" And people would say, "Didn't you see me in the audience? You were looking right at me." And I was like, "No,
No.
no, I didn't." But now that I'm like more comfortable and I've been doing it for so long, I don't really like, I remember things really vividly and I look at people directly, which is something I don't really tend to do in public, outside of, off stage. But like on
Mhm.
stage, I'm like, I see you, I see you, you're looking at me, you're gonna look at me, I see you. And when people are distracted, it's like the best thing because I'm like, hey, hey, I'm right
It's
here.
like, look at me, what are you doing?
Yeah, get off your phones, huh? Huh?
And then
Yeah.
now considering with like COVID, going on and being very performative and somebody who loves being on stage, how has that been difficult for you during these times? And have you been working on new acts or what's up for Jessabelle?
Yeah, I mean, I'm spending a lot of money I don't have currently on trying to get new costumes made because I feel like what I I love music, I love movement. That's like my strong suit. Costuming is not my strong suit like at all. So I'm really trying to like get more high quality, expensive looking costumes and really like so I've been looking at different pictures of costume ideas and then I'm having a corset made for the first time by someone.
Oh, well, that sounds like like getting corsets made. That's next level. How's that process going on for you with the course getting a corset made?
It's been, I mean, money. It's been tricky because we're not in the same place, but it's and also money. But it's gonna come. It'll happen. It'll come soon. My money will come in and I'll pay that person and get what I need. But yeah, I'm working on two new acts with costuming basically first. I already have music chosen. Um and then the virtual shows I've been doing haven't been so crazy. The upside is that when I'm done in a virtual show, I get to throw on my pajamas and just chill on my bed.
Like right after, you're like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like right after I'm done, I'm like, "Is there a curtain call?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, makeup off my face."
Yeah, right away. You put the makeup wipe on, and you're like, oh, I already have the pants underneath. That's the reveal.
Exactly. Like I love that part. Like I don't have to sit in traffic or sit around till 2 a.m. and wait for like everything to be done and pack up and stuff like that. So that's nice. But the hard part of it, as people would guess, is like the audience interaction is not really there. You don't get the hooting and the hollering. So you just have to like give all your energy to a screen. But I try to remind myself people are behind that, start in that camera. People are looking at me regardless. Even if I can't hear them, I know they're looking. So try to put as much energy as I can into what I'm doing, just to entertain them because I know they're still there even though I can't hear them.
Yeah. Are you is there any new acts that you more, if you want to if you can get into specifics with any new acts you're kind of working on so you can get people excited about, or is there any shows that you have coming up soon that we can kind of talk about?
Yeah, the acts, I mean, they're not traditional like classic vintage music. They're like I tend to dance to current music, like sometimes electronic vibes sometimes. So I have those songs, but I don't want to say what they are yet.
Yeah, keep those two secret to yourself. And I also like too that you kind of like use music outside of like the vintage music because I feel like a lot of people kind of get scared, especially in the community, because they always feel like, oh, we have to present a certain way and blah blah blah. And then you're kind of like breaking those barriers, and you're such a big person within the community, so it's like you're kind
Yeah.
of like helping people kind of lift their perspective of what vintage is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the first time I ever took the burlesque classes, I had a playlist of music actually, and everything on my playlist is what you would stereotypically think people would dance to. So I
Hmm.
had like Fever and what's the other one? I had like what's the other one? Like strippers something. It's like the classic instrumental music that everyone has danced to at some point. It's fine music, but I was like, oh, this is what I have to dance to. And then I took a separate burlesque class with a performer called Lux Lacroix, and she dances too. She was like, I dance to hip hop and R&B, and I was like, what? Wait, what? I can dance to literally anything I want? Yes, please. And from that moment on, I was like, I'm gonna just dance to what I like the most. But I still I want people to know that I can still do the classic vintage thing. I just prefer to always dance to like newer
Yeah.
music, but not that I can't dance to classic stuff, but which
It's
I
just
do.
that she prefers. She wants to be outside of the box, and it's better to break barriers than be stuck in them, all right?
Exactly.
and I really appreciate that you're kind of doing that because I also hear from a lot in like the kind of the vintage world about how people can be kind of like very precise on what's supposed to be worn and stuff like that, and who's supposed to do what, and kind of, and it gets to this kind of, negative aspect. And I really love that you're kind of breaking out of that, and just even putting on a good like electronic 80s song is always good on my book. Right?
Yes, I love it. I just did like easy listening show in January in Seattle, which is all like yacht rock, super old, like not super old, but like 80s like smooth jazz music, and have a passion. I love that music. It makes me happy. So I got to that show. I was like the happiest ever. I was like, yes, heavy saxophone and cheesy music. I love this. Yeah.
So now, I say let's talk about kind of like how I kind of talked about previously, but kind of that grow and have over in the span of 11 years, how much you've grown, and kind of an advice you could give to somebody out there who's maybe stuck in the position you were 11 years ago and kind of needs a little encouragement during these times. So, is there anything you would kind of give as a little tip for somebody?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'll specifically talk to like pandemic times and people who want to grow in this field of burlesque or even pinup stuff during coronavirus times. It's just like go for it. If you really want to do it, just do it because now is the time to like really do it because there's online shows a lot and people are always looking for other people to come aboard and people aren't really like saying how many years have you been doing this and how many have you done, and people are just open to giving other people experiences now that it's virtual even more. So I say if that's what you want to do during these times, do it. My best advice too in general is to push yourself to take risks. Take risks because that is how growing, getting, being confident in who you are is a journey. It's never gonna like be a moment where you're like the most confident. You're like, I'm perfect. Like it's taken me 30 something, 30 plus years to like gain like this much confidence in myself. And so I find that one of the ways that helps me like to grow and be more confident is pushing myself to go outside my box and take a risk. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, like the burlesque moment, it can pay off. And even like the Dita Von Teese thing was just, it was me taking a risk. Like I emailed an address that I saw was hers, and I was like, hey, I'd love to model your lingerie one day. And she was like, actually, I have a tour coming up and I need somebody and I've been thinking about you. And I was like, what? But had I not like reached out, I don't know when she would have reached out or if she would have. I'm glad she was thinking about it. But it took like me saying, just do it, just try it. And or you'll hear somebody say no. And yeah, so take risks.
I want to thank you so much for everything you've kind of done for the burlesque community, and also for a bunch of other young kids kind of still growing up and still trying to find their kind of way, and for being the trailblazer that you are, and for constantly pushing boundaries and doing things that you're doing, because you might not see like it's a lot of work, but it is a lot of work, and we appreciate you, and you're doing great things, and I
Thanks.
feel like there's so many people that are going to be looking up to you, and they do to this day, and I want to thank you for that. Yeah, and I'm gonna be linking all of your information down below, so if people want to get to know a little bit more about you, I'll also be linking down your kind of Venmo and PayPal. So if anybody wants to give you a little tip during these trying times, you always can. Because remember, tip your performers, you guys, tip your performers. Never forget.
It's
So, right. So I want to thank you so much for coming on, and I'll see you next time. Alrighty, bye. Have a nice one.
Thank you.